Does family court have standing and subject matter jurisdiction to address child custody issues in the absence of a pre-existing child custody order? To find out, you have to read Matter of Celinette versus Michelle, but it's 16 pages. Don't have time for that? I've got you covered. This is TLDR, Too Long Didn't Read, where I cover New York Court of Appeals cases and I try to do it in 5 minutes or less. This is the episode on the case of Matter of Celinette versus Michelle, published by the New York Court of Appeals on October 19th of 2023. The citation for this case is 2023 New York Slip Opinion 05303. The issue in this case is whether family court, as a court, has standing and subject matter jurisdiction to address a child custody issue in the absence of a pre-existing child custody order. To understand and appreciate the context of what this case deals with, you have to understand three basic concepts. The first is standing. Standing is the concept that a court can address an issue only if the party that's bringing the issue is aggrieved, has a legal right to something that they've been aggrieved by. So the question to address for standing is the party that's bringing the action aggrieved legally? Do they have a right that's being violated, allegedly, that they can bring to court to be vindicated? So that's standing. A related but different issue is called subject matter jurisdiction. That question is about the power of the court. That's a question of, does this particular court have the authority to address this particular kind of case? So a subject matter jurisdiction issue would be, you can't bring a case that's worth $1 million in small claims court because the jurisdiction of small claims court doesn't reach $1 million. You can't bring, you can't bring an initial action in the Court of Appeals because that's the court that decides earlier appeals, basically. So that's subject matter jurisdiction. And the last thing you have to understand is what a habeas petition is. A habeas corpus petition, in Latin, it means bring the body here, bring the body. So a habeas petition is an application to a court to say, order that this body, the physical person, be brought to court because there's alleged to be an unlawful detention or an unlawful holding on of a person. So if a person's alleged to be kept in a basement, that would be a habeas petition. Also, if a person is being kept in jail without authority, that's a habeas petition. They're unlawfully detained. Or if there's a custody issue, that could be a person that's unlawfully being held by somebody, and that's a habeas petition. So a habeas petition says, bring the body to the court for the court to then resolve where the body should be or who has a lawful right to have that body. Okay. So what are the facts of this case? The facts are that this is a custody dispute in family court. Petitioner is the mother of 3 children, and the father of these children lives in South Carolina. Mother, petitioner, has a visitation agreement with paternal grandmother, so the father's mother, that the grandmother can visit with the kids and then bring the kids back to mom. At one point, grandmother asks mother, the petitioner, can I bring the kids to see father in South Carolina? Mom says yes, but when the kids go to South Carolina, they don't come back. So mom goes to family court with a habeas petition. And there's no pre-existing custody agreement here. But mom goes to family court with a habeas petition, which the court then signs, and the children don't get brought to court. It lasts several appearances. The children don't get brought back to court. Ultimately, to try to bring compliance with this habeas petition, there's a contempt proceeding against the father and the grandmother. The grandmother goes to jail for 7 days. The father winds up calling in to one of these court appearances and hanging up in October of 2020. Basically, the habeas petition goes nowhere. And when it finally goes to an inquest, the father's lawyer who appears says, wait a second, there's no custody agreement here. You can't have a habeas petition without a custody agreement. The family court agrees, dismisses the case. It goes to the Appellate Division. They affirm. It goes to the Court of Appeals. And here what we have is a majority holding and a dissent. The majority says that there's 2 different issues here. The majority says the subject matter jurisdiction question, where the Appellate Division basically said there's no subject matter jurisdiction here because there's no petition there's no custody petition that was brought by mom such that we are not the right place to have this habeas petition. That's wrong. They say that's an incorrect statement. The family court does have subject matter jurisdiction. That's the holding of the majority in the Court of Appeals. They say, but with regard to the standing objection that the father's lawyer made, we don't know if there's standing. The Appellate Division should go resolve. We're remitting it back to the Appellate Division for them to resolve and develop a record on standing. But there's a dissent by Judge Rivera, and she says that the question here is a different question. The question should be, can a parent apply for habeas relief without an existing custody order? And she says, of course they can. Domestic Relations Law 70 allows them to do this. And the family court could just convert the habeas petition to a custody petition. So Judge Rivera says there's really no question of standing or of subject matter jurisdiction. This is the right court, and this is the right kind of application. It could just be converted to a custody petition. And that's the case of Celinette versus Michelle. Everyone agrees subject matter jurisdiction is present. The majority, however, thinks that the Appellate Division should develop the record more on standing. And Judge Rivera, in her dissent, says it's not even a question here about standing, because there's already the habeas petition itself can be converted to a petition for custody. That's the case of Celinette versus Michelle. Have a good day. If you like what you just saw and want to see more just like it, please hit like or subscribe to let me know.